What's your name?
My name is Mitch Mullens. I'm the commander of Post 190 in Hebron, American Legion. I served 34 years in the United States Army and Army Reserve.
From what years did you serve?
I was drafted in 71 and retired in 98.
For the color guard, what do you guys do exactly?
Basically, our next event for our color guard here in Hebron will be the school programs for Veterans Day, and it's nice. It's a way to honor our veteran community in the area. They also go up and do one at Foundation Meadows Park, a flag raising there. Last year, I was honored to go to Boone Grove Middle School and be the keynote speaker, and it was quite an honor for me, to be able to do that. Pass on some of the knowledge and everything of what goes on throughout history and everything.
What did you do during service?
I had a lot of different jobs. Like I say, I'm a retired sergeant major. That's the highest enlisted rank you can get in any of the military branches. I started out, I was drafted. After basic, I was assigned to an artillery unit, and I spent 8 years in the artillery. And it was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun too. I served in Desert Storm. I went in there in October. 2 years later, I came home. My job there, I was the night logistics senior enlisted person for the theater. As such, I had to do theater requisitions. I had to maintain the logistics report for the command staff and several other things. The most rewarding job I think I ever had in the military was when President Clinton sent us to Bosnia as peacekeepers. I was assigned to the Reserve Advisor's Office. At that point, I was the senior enlisted person in charge of 4,800 airmen, Army, Marines that were sent into Bosnia as peacekeepers. And as such, on that job, it was a lot of work, but it was rewarding work at that, because I would fly every Sunday night. I would fly every Friday morning from 11:50 to noon. I had to do an in-person interview with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the Joint Chiefs of Staff of all 5 branches of service at that time. And I had 10 minutes to tell them what went on that week and answer their questions. And there's a lot of times I would be flying back up out of Bosnia on a Friday night, trying to put all my notes together. Yeah, but it was an interesting time.
And then your wife was very supportive of you during
Yes, I've been blessed that her and I have been, as a couple, or married for 53 years this past January. And she has supported me in all my endeavors. And for that, I'm eternally grateful.
But were you married before you got your first shipment, or what?
I say it was the best week and worst week of my life. I attended Purdue University, completed my associate's degree midterm, which meant I was done on the first Sunday in January. I got my draft notice the following day on Monday, filed my appeal on Tuesday, and I got married the following Saturday. So it was kind of, like I said, the best and the worst week. At the time, I thought my deferment would last at least for 3 or 4 months. It didn't. So I got married. A month later, I was at Fort Leonard Wood doing basic training. So,
were you nervous going into being drafted at the time?
No, I knew I was going to get drafted because that was the first year they had the draft lottery. And I had number 28. My older brother had number 364 out of 365. So I knew I was going to get drafted. In that first month, January, in Porter County, I remember I had number 28. They took through 34. So I knew I was going to get drafted. But, I'm proud to go.
Yeah.
I will say this: I learned probably more in those 34 years than I would have otherwise. I had various jobs. I did logistics work in the Gulf War. I worked nights because it corresponded with days. I had the honor to meet General Colin Powell, Secretary of Defense Cheney, and actually have lunch with those two gentlemen in the Gulf War. And it was simply because I dealt with these people at night, their staffs and stuff, the night for me, day for them. And they wanted to meet. General Powell started as an enlisted soldier and worked his way up to 4-star general, Chairman and Joint Chiefs of Staff. And I have the utmost respect for that gentleman. But yeah, for me, it was a very rewarding time. Unfortunately, though, as you can see, I have a cane. I walk with a limp. I have leg braces on. But like I said, I had a lot of fun. Now I'm paying the price. And that's just the way life is, I could have ended up this way if I'd never had any fun, shall we say.
Were you injured during service?
Yeah, I fell in a hole one day pushing troops up at Fort McCoy, twisted a knee, things like that. But what I have it's a neurological disease, and unbeknownst to me, it's shown up later in life. It mimics MS, but it's not MS. So, we just live with it day by day. Like a day like today where it's kind of cold and rainy outside, yeah, I get stiff. I have a little trouble walking and that kind of stuff. But, I'm 73 years old too, so a lot of that's just old age.
I'm very honored to be able to talk to veterans and stuff. Like I said, my grandpa served. He taught me a bunch of different stuff. He told me about his service and stuff. He talked about how he got his Purple Heart and everything as well.
Yeah. I've been fortunate. I've never earned a Purple Heart. But by the other token, I do have a vast array of different awards and decorations over the years for what I've done, things that I've implemented. Is in the Gulf War. We started out, before the ground war even started, they were running logistics back and forth from Kuwait back into, or right up by Kuwait, back into Saudi Arabia. They were having a lot of problems with vehicle accidents. And I'm just sitting there looking at this problem, and I got to thinking, I drive a truck for a living, or I used to, when I was in college and that. Oh, this is what they have to do. And I put the suggestion forward, and they took it. So I went up before a 3-star general and said, okay, these are the places to put your little truck stops. They call them Convoy Support Centers, CSCs. And within 48 hours of having the last one done, they had cut their vehicle accident rate by about 70 to 80%. So, that's quite a feat, I guess,
I know it's an honor to get a Purple Heart and stuff, but what you accomplished seems very helpful to the service as well.
It was, Purple Heart was awarded for valor. I got a Meritorious Service Award for coming up with ideas as that. And it's, to me, I'm very respectful of anybody that has a Purple Heart. Because I know what it goes to get one, having served what I've done. After the ground war stopped, we got men and equipment scattered all over the desert. And one of the gentlemen here, Don Davis, I didn't know it at the time, but Don was working for me.
Was he?
Yeah, and I found this out after we got back. One of the Don's jobs was to go out, find that piece of equipment, and bring it back.
When did you find out that he worked for you? Was it much later?
Yeah.
Later?
We were at a Legion convention in Indianapolis one day, and Don was going on about, if he ever found that guy that sent him all over the desert, he was going to punch him in the nose. And at that time, Christine Martell was the commander here. And Christine, she kind of looked at me, and I'm grinning. And I looked at Don, and I said, well, you better make your first punch your good one, because you're not going to get a second punch.
I think that's very good. It was very nice being able to talk to you, see about your story.
You too. Take care.
Thank you.